Hey, welcome. In this lecture, we are going to be able to remove item from our carts. Okay, now to do this, we have to go back to our VS Code and then provider folder and then carts underscore provider, then the dot file and use Ctrl and B to make this wide. And now we can scroll down. So what we want to do is we want to create a function to remove item from our carts. Okay. And over here, we can create a function. We can say void or we can just go ahead and call this function remove item. And we want to be able to remove the item based on the product ID. Great. Now we can call this variable. Remember, all our added item is going to be stored in this variable called underscore cart items, right? So we want to be able to remove that item from this variable. Okay, scroll down again and we can say underscore cart items then dot remove, and we want to be able to remove based on the product ID. And currently we have not assigned any value to this product ID, but whenever we call this function we then have to pass in the product ID, that is the value to this variable called product ID. And lastly, we have to call the notify listener. Okay. Use Ctrl and S to save this file, and use Ctrl and B to make this smaller again. And we have to go to the cast screen and Ctrl and V now to make this wide. What we can do is right after this container, we can have the cart icon over here so that whenever a user clicks on it, they should be able to remove the item. Okay, scroll up and over over here we have the container, right? And it ends here, right? So we can wrap this container with a row widget. Wrap with row, and this is the first main widget of the row, right? Remember, within the container we have another row which is for basically this. Okay, back to where we were, and over here we can then have the icon button widget, and there's this, and we have to specify we want to use the icon widget. And for the icon, we can use the Cupertino icons in order to have a very cool style. Cupertino icons. Then we have that cart, cart underscore badge. We can just use the underscore badge minus since we want to be able to remove, and use Ctrl and S to save. And you should see it somewhere. Yeah, after this container we have somewhere. Yeah, okay, great. We got it over here. And on click on this, we want to be able to remove this item. Now remember, this function we just created is within the cart provider. So in order to access it, we first need to access this class. But fortunately, we already created a variable to store that. So all we just have to do is back to the cart screen, and over here we can say underscore cart provider, and now we have access to the remove item, and it is asking now for the product ID. So the product ID, this is going to be cart data, then dot product ID. Great, we are removing the item based on the product ID. So by that way we're not going to get rid of all the item, but we just want to get rid of the item based on the product ID. Okay, so click on this now. Okay, got deleted and click on this and you can see currently it is 0.0. Remember that was what we set within ad provider when we created the functionality. I'm just going to add on that zero. The reason for that extra zero is because we said to feast as string, then we set the fraction digit to be 2. So that is why we have this 2 0. So use Ctrl and S to save again, and we can add another product to our cart to make sure everything is working as we expect. I'm gonna first of all choose the size, add to cart, and click on this again. Sorry, scroll up and add to cart, and over here, okay, we got it, and everything is working as we expect. Now we can click on this to delete the item we mistakenly add. We can also increment and we can decrement, and of course also get rid of this. And also in the future, we would be able to get rid of all the cart items we have at once.